This weekend, I tried reading a little bit more of manga. I specifically set aside a little bit of time in order to read some Attack on Titan. My plan has always been to get through the entire series before the anime finishes airing, but apparently that's going to happen in winter of 2022. So I think I have a pretty big window here. So here I was just reading Attack on Titan Volume 5. I got through 85% of it. Love it. I think it's great. I think I made several videos just saying yes, I think Attack on Titan is great. But I was reading Attack on Titan and I was just like, I've been reading this one manga, as much as possible over the past couple of days, and I felt that maybe I should try and read something a little bit different. I don't think I've read any other manga since I started reading these Attack on Titan volumes back to back. So I thought it was time to try something a little bit different. I've mostly been reading dark fantasy and horror stuff. I've been reading Berserk. I read a little bit of Hellsing. I love Attack on Titan. Big fan of Uzumaki, Junji Ito's works. So I thought that let's go on a whim here. Let's pick up something completely different. Let's pick up something that I know the name of, that I know is winning awards and is pretty popular among its fans and and has a following, but something that I don't know all that much about. Something wildly different than what I've seen before. And what I eventually decided on, what I eventually obsessed over, was that I really wanted to read Beastars, and I don't know what it was. I don't know what really triggered this thing. I think I've seen images from it, the anime and stuff like that. I've seen people mention how good it is offhand, but I had no idea what it was about. I had no idea who the characters were. I had no idea what the genre was. I had no idea. So I went into this thing almost completely blind, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I liked this one a lot, so much so that I immediately went ahead and bought Volume 2. But Beastars is a high school drama set in a world full of anthropomorphic animals. So if you've watched stuff like Zootopia or grown up reading Redwall like I have, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Animal people, essentially, that sort of still behave and act like people, dress themselves like people, but sort of have that still animalistic qualities to them, a sort of a fantasy aspect to it. So you have wolves and sheep going to school together at this academy, and it's kind of wildly acknowledged that the school is somewhat segregated between herbivores and carnivores. Like I said, very similar to the concept of Zootopia, or at least as I understand Zootopia. Again, I haven't seen Zootopia either. But Beastars is about a wolf named Legoshi, who the author claims was named after Bela Lugosi, the iconic actor behind Dracula, which I think is really, really cool. A drama club member who works on the props and his interactions with the people around him. His friend is suddenly murdered by someone by a wolf-like creature, and Legoshi himself is a wolf. So the story seems to be setting up this idea that Legoshi is the one responsible for this, at least at first, right? But as you really get to read along and get to know this guy, get to know his reserved behavior and his opinions and how he treats herbivores and stuff like that, you kind of know it's not actually him, even though he is struggling with his intense carnivorous nature. They deal with that in this one, but he is a legitimately good guy who has who seems to have been legitimately good friends with this guy Tem, the sheep Tem that was murdered and eaten by some carnivore. Somehow they're not able to figure out who did it. The first part of Act 1 is all about dealing with this guy's death. Legoshi is sort of establishing himself as the protagonist, interacting with this girl that Tem had a crush on, and dealing with his death. Namely the fact that Tem had a very big role to play in the upcoming drama club play Adler, which is about some Grim Reaper figure fighting off some forces of nature that want to kill a protagonist. I haven't gone into like exactly what the play is yet. They've described it like vaguely, but we haven't like seen it all. So like we haven't seen a lot of the school like outside of the drama club, unfortunately. Hopefully that's something that's remedied by Volume 2. So Legoshi, like they kind of like establish this herbivore carnivore dynamic, but they also kind of like do something really interesting. I think is that they kind of like show like the other side. They sort of show like how herbivores can sort of weaponize their victimhood status against the carnivores. You sort of see like how Louis, the deer, the red horned deer or whatever the fuck he is. You sort of see that guy sort of like pushing around Legoshi and sort of like fucking over carnivores. Apparently did it like his need to sort of like have some kind of superiority over them. It's out of all the characters so far, I think Louis is my favorite because I kind of like his design, I kind of like his attitude, and I kind of like the ambiguity of like how he treats people around him. Like the Volume 1 like sets him up as being kind of an asshole, but then like it kind of like turns around and says that like, oh wait, he's trying to like have this sense of justice, right? This sense of like being a leader for the school, and sometimes that means being hard on people. So like at the moment, I find Louis' sort of like character arc more interesting than Legoshi's. Maybe that'll change like further along the line, but right now I'm really interested in seeing where it goes because I really have no idea at this point. Like Volume 1 seems mostly interested in setting up the setting, like setting up like how these animals, their character dynamics and their personalities and the setting, but like not necessarily like the actual overarching plot. Like I have no inkling as to who possibly an antagonist could be, for example. Like there's no suggestion of anything like anything happening in the outside world. Like there's no mention of like families or like a history or like character backgrounds, like other than Louis being from being rich as fuck, apparently, which is kind of explains his asshole nature. We don't really know a whole lot at this stage, and it had me like very, very, very intrigued. I was very, 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 very impressed with what I saw from this. Definitely what I was looking for, like a little bit of a break from all the Titans devouring people. I would say, and of course the wolf is attacking herbivores. Like I guess I have a thing for that. Okay. Everything I read has something eating another thing. But yeah, I'm not sure like how much more there is to say. Like it's a school drama featuring animals, and it's perfectly well drawn. And I had problems with the first chapter. That was my big problem with the first chapter, is that like I didn't think the art was great, but it kind of settled into a style as it went along. Sort of like how Tomie kind of started off kind of rough and then sort of like evolved going as it went through like the introductory chapters. I had problems with Tomie early on too. Beastars is overall like a very enjoyable read, and I can't say I recommend it though, because at this stage, because like again, I don't know where it goes. I don't know where the story goes from here. It could like go to complete shit by the end. Assuming this manga is even over, I actually don't even know if it's finished. But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to read more.